Okay, so we're gonna do a percents review. I've already put some notes down here. So this is just a review of what we talked about last time. Percent increase, we represent as 100% plus whatever that percent increase is. So for example, if it were 40%, that would be 140% or 1.4. So if we're increasing, it should be 100, so 1 point whatever that increase is. 1.4 would be 140%, which represents a 40% increase. And if we're talking about percent decrease, we take that original amount and we subtract whatever that percent decrease is. So for example, if the percent decrease is 40, then in essence you have 60% left. So the decimal that we use would be 0.60. And anytime we say percent of something means that we need to multiply. So let's do this in practice. The atomic weight of an unknown element in atomic mass units is approximately 20% less than that of calcium. Okay, so we have this unknown element and it's less than calcium, 20% less than calcium. We know that the atomic weight of calcium is 40 AMU. Then if we decrease it by that 20%, we should be left with the mass of this unknown element. So the question is, which of the following best approximates the atomic weight of the unknown element? So basically we have calcium and we know that if we decrease calcium by 20%, we will get the weight of the unknown element. So a decrease of 20% means we take all of calcium and we subtract 20%, which leaves us with 80% of the calcium. So 80% can be written as 0.80. And so we want 80% of the calcium. And the calcium was 40 AMU. So 80% of 40 is 32. All right. So that was a percent decrease problem, essentially. Okay, the next one. At Lincoln High School, approximately 7% of enrolled juniors and 5% of seniors were inducted into the National Honor Society last year. If there were 562 juniors and 602 seniors enrolled at Lincoln High School, which of the following is closest to the total number of juniors and seniors who were in the National Honor Society? So it said 7% of juniors were in it. So 7% of the 562 juniors. So this doesn't talk about increasing or decreasing. It's just a straightforward 7% or 0.07, because we move that decimal over 2 spots. So 7% is 0.07 of, multiply by all of the juniors. So about 39 juniors were in the National Honor Society. And then it said 5% of seniors, where there are 602 seniors, 5% of those 602, so 5%, we move that decimal over 2 spots, 0.05, 5% of, multiply, the 602 seniors went to the National Honor Society, so that's about 30 seniors. So we have 39 juniors and 30 seniors. So together there's about 69 people who were in the Honor Society. Okay, number 3. Katerina is a botanist studying the production of pears by 2 types of pear trees. She noticed that type A trees produce 20% more, so that's a 20% increase compared to type B. Okay, based on Katerina's observation, if type A produced 144 pears, how many pears did type B produce? So A is 20% more than B. We know that A produced 144, so 144 is 20% more than B. Now I need to figure out, how do I write 20% more than? Well, that's a percent increase. So I'm taking 100% of A plus an increase of 20%, aka 120%, which I can then move that decimal over 2 spots and get 1.2. So this can be written as 1.2b. 144 equals 1.2b, and then solve for b, you get 120. Okay, so this was a percent increase problem. Number 4. Nick surveyed a random sample of freshmen of his high school class to determine whether the fall festival should be held in October or November. Of the 90 students surveyed, 25.6% preferred October. Based on this information, about how many students in the entire 225-person class would be expected to prefer having the fall festival in October? So it said 25.6% prefer October, and we have 225 people. So I'm looking for just the basic 25.6% of 225. So now I need to rewrite this, move that decimal over 2 spots. As a decimal, it's 0.256 times 225 gives me about 60. It's closer to 60 than it is 50, so we would go with B. Okay, next problem. The amount of money a performer earns is directly proportional to the number of people attending the performance. The performer earns $120 at a performance where 8 people attend. The performer uses 43% of the money earned to pay the costs involved in putting on each performance. The rest of the money earned is the performer's profit. What is the profit? So 43% goes to costs, and the rest is profit. So what is the profit the performer makes at a performance where 8 people attend? Okay, so 8 people attend means we have $120. Now 43% of that 120 goes to costs, so we can figure that out. 43% written as a decimal. Take this guy, move it twice. 0.43 of that 120 is going to costs. So $51.6 is going to the costs. Now the rest of the 120 is going to profit. So if 51.6 is taken away because it's going to costs, $68.4 is left over for profit. Okay, so 68.4 is left over for profit. So that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to think, okay, 43% is going to cost, which means 57%, since in total it's 100%, there's 57% left over. 57% is going to profit. So you could just do 57% of 120 and you will still get 68.4. Okay, so either way works. All right, number 5. A customer's restaurant check was $34.29 before tip. If the customer decides to tip 18%, what would be the check total including the tip? So we are going to increase the amount by 18%. So I'm going to say I want 100% of the bill plus an 18% tip, which is 118%. Move that decimal over 2 spots. 1.18 is our increasing factor. So we want 1.18 of the bill, and that will give us our answer. So we know it needs to be more than 34.29. All of these are, so now we just got to figure out which one it is. When we plug that in our calculator, we get 40.46. Okay, so this was a percent increase problem. You could have also figured out 18% of 34.29 and then added it to the 34.29. It just takes a bit longer. Next one. A radioactive substance decays at an annual rate of 13%. If the initial amount of the substance is 325 grams, which of the following functions models the remaining amount of the substance in grams t years later? Okay, so what we need to decide is what, this all may not look familiar to you. This is called an exponential function. And what we really need to determine is what number we should be seeing in the function. Right, so a radioactive substance decays, so it decays at a rate of 13%. So if we're saying a decrease of 13%, the number that we should be seeing is 87 or 0.87. 87%, move that decimal over 2 spots, is 0.87. Okay, so we should be seeing 0.87, and the only two that have 0.87 are A and C. Okay, now to understand the rest of it, you might need to know exponential functions, but what we're saying is that every year it decreases by 13%, so every year we're going to be multiplying by 0.87. So that means that we should be multiplying by 0.87 every year. So the one that's attached to the years should be 0.87. So that's A. For your knowledge, an exponential function, we have the principal amount, the starting amount goes at the front, and then you have your factor, your decay or your increasing factor to however many years it is, to the power of years. So this is the principal amount. The starting amount was 325 grams. And we multiply it by 0.87 each year, which is why it's 0.87 times 0.87 times 0.87, which is just to the power of however many years that is. So that is A. Should be looking at a decrease, so we definitely need to eliminate B and D. I'm looking at these two. Okay, number 7. Jessica opened a bank account that earns 2% interest compounded annually, so it earns 2% each year. Her initial deposit was $100, and she uses the expression 100 x to the t to find the value of the account after t years. What is the value of x in the expression? So again, here's our principal amount, and what are we going to be multiplying our principal amount by each year to reflect this increase in percent? So we have 100%, and we're increasing by 2%. So we're looking at 102%, which means each year we'll be multiplying by 1.02. So this is our percent increase. So this is what goes in that blank right there. All right, number 8. Ken and Paul each ordered a sandwich at a restaurant. The price of Ken's sandwich was X dollars, and the price of Paul's sandwich was $1 more than the price of Ken's sandwich. Okay, so this is Ken. He was X, and Paul is X plus 1, $1 more than the price of Ken's sandwich. If Ken and Paul split the cost of the sandwiches evenly, and each paid a 20% tip, so he paid a 20% tip and he paid a 20% tip, which of the following expressions represents the amount in dollars each of them paid? So they took the bill and they took the bill and they added it together, and then they split it evenly. So then they divided it by 2. They split it evenly. So that's 2x plus 1 over 2. All right, and you can divide this up. So this is like 2x over 2 is just x, and then plus 1/2, plus 0.5. Okay, so this is what each of them paid because they split it evenly. And then each of them paid 20% on top of that. So then we have the 100% plus the 20% of that x plus 0.5. So then we just need to distribute that. So it'll be 1.2x plus 0.6c. So that one's a bit tough. We have Ken, we have Paul, Together, they took the bill, which they added up together, and they split it in half. And so they each paid X plus 0.5. And then on top of that, they added a 20% tip. So that's what this is. We take 100%, adding on that 20% of this bill that they paid. Okay, number 9. A rectangle was altered by increasing its length by 10% and decreasing its width by p%. If these alterations decrease the area of the rectangle by 12%, what is the value of p? Okay, so this is a tough one. So let's draw a picture. So we take its length. So here's length and width. Here's the original, where the area is length times width. Right? All right, so what we're going to do to the new rectangle is increase its length by 10%. So that means 100 increase by 10%. 100 plus 10% is 110%, which is 1.1. So its length is now 1.1 L. And then we're going to decrease its width by p%. So the width is now going to be 100 minus p%. So that's 1 minus p of w. Okay, and what it does is it decreases the area of the rectangle by 12%. So a decrease of 12 is 88%. Okay, so when I multiply these guys together, I should get 0.88. So see how it's L times W? Well, this is still L times W, but now there's this 0.88 in the front. So really what I'm doing is I'm multiplying this times this, and I should get this on the inside. Okay, so the L and W are essentially negligible. So like what you're saying is 1 minus P times W times 1.1 times L is equal to 0.88 LW. The L is going to cancel out with the other L, and the W is going to cancel out with the other W. So you have 1 minus P times 1.1 equals 0.88. And now we just need to solve for P. Oops. So we distribute this. 1.1 minus 1.1P is equal to 0.88. Subtract 1.1. Negative 0.22. And then divide by negative 1.1. So P is equal to 0.2, which is 20%. So that one's pretty tough, but you would set up the percent increase, the percent decrease, and then whatever this percent decrease was. So it's 100% or 1 minus whatever that percent decrease was. Number 10. Alma bought a laptop computer at a store that gave a 20% discount off its original price. Okay, so 20% off the original price. The total amount she paid was P dollars. So in the end, it was P dollars. And it included an 8% sales tax on that discounted price. Which of the following represents the original price of the computer in terms of P? So I'm going to call the original price X because we don't know the original price. But we know what she paid was P dollars. So we have the original price, and then we have this 20% discount. So we're taking 100 minus 20% is that 0.80. So this is 80%, which is 0.80. So we have the discounted price is 0.80 of the original. Okay, and then it includes also an 8% sales tax. So now 8% added is 100 plus 8. Move that decimal over 2 spots. So we are adding that 8% sales tax. And all of this is equal to what she paid. So I'm going to distribute that in 1.08 times 0.8. Well, I guess I don't need to, because if I look at all of our answer choices, it has the 0.8 and the 1.08, so I'll just keep it like that. And what we need to solve for is which of the following represents the original price. So I'm going to solve for x. So I'm going to solve for x. So first I'm going to divide by 1.08. So I have 0.8x is equal to p over 1.08, and then I'm going to divide by 0.8. So that looks like D. Okay, these ones at the end are obviously a bit harder, but the first thing to think about is that percent decrease. So it's 80% of the original price, and then I'm adding that 8% sales tax. Okay, what is the approximate difference between the percent increase in profit for City Candies, that's the white ones, between 2009 and 2010, and the percent increase in City Candies between 2011 and 2012? So I'm looking at the white ones. 2009 looks like it was 7, and this is 11, 12, 13. Okay, so I want to find the percent increase. So I'm starting at 7, and I'm multiplying it by something, and I get 13. So to find that percent increase, I do 13 divided by 7, which is 1.857. So the percent increase is this bit here. The 100% is just the original amount plus this percent increase, so an 85.7% increase from 2009 to 2010. Then if I look at 2011, which looks like 12, to 2012, which looks like 20. 12 times some amount gave me 20. So I divide by 12 on both sides. 1.67. So this is like a 67% increase. So what is the difference in these? So I'm basically saying 86 minus 67, which is 19%. That's the difference in those percent increases. Last couple. Okay, Melissa is a ceramic engineer studying the fabrication of alumina. The theoretical density of alumina is 3.987 per cubic centimeter. If Melissa is able to fabricate alumina that is only 0.9% empty space that is trapped inside of the alumina, what is the actual density of the alumina she fabricated? So we're losing 0.9% to empty space. So we're taking our 100% of what we would expect, that theoretical. We're taking 100% of that, and we're decreasing it by 0.9%. Sorry, my cat's here. So that is 100 minus 0.9 is 99.1%. And I move that decimal over 2 spots. It's 0.991 of what I would expect. Stop it, Addie. So 3.951. So that would be B. Okay. Last one here. A pair of jeans with a price tag of $28 is on sale for 10% off. So 10% off means I have 100% minus that 10%, which is 90%. So I have 90% of that $28. Okay? The store takes off an additional 10% because of a special sale that day. So we take 90% of the original, and then another 10% off of that. So another 90 of this 25.2. Okay? After all discounts are applied, a sales tax is then added. So adding 100, adding the sales tax of 5.5, move that decimal over 2 spots, 1.055. So now we add that sales tax to that discounted price. 23.93. What to the nearest whole cent is the total cost? 23.93. And we are done. Feel free to pause and rewind and do whatever you need to do. Try to understand these problems more. If you don't understand a problem, please set up an appointment with me on Calendly. Just go to the syllabus and there's a link right there, and you'll just select a time. I'm very available for you. Okay, please use me. Free tutoring. All right.